Hi, happy Fab Friday, everybody. I wanted to pop in here and talk about a way that we apologize for ourselves that a lot of times we're not even aware of that we're apologizing for ourselves. So, welcome to Imperfect and Unapologetic. If you're new to this space, this is our safe space to learn and explore and just grow into who we want to be and what we want to be in this life so we can get out of it what we want without having to require ourselves to be perfect or without apologizing for ourselves. So this is the safe place to be imperfect and unapologetic. And I wanted to hop on here and talk to you about, as I said, a way that we're apologizing for ourselves a lot and that we're not necessarily even aware of. So tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You wake up in the morning and kind of that first thought that blazes through your mind is, I didn't get enough sleep. And then you get going through your day and you're thinking, I don't have enough time. And as the day goes on, those other judgments creep in. I don't exercise enough. I don't make enough money. I'm not thin enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not patient enough. I'm not a good enough mother or daughter or friend or sister, or I don't do enough, right? And then at the end of the day, you finally get into your bed and you think to yourself, I didn't get enough done today. Does any of that sound familiar? Right? So the thing that we're largely unaware of is how many times a day we tell ourselves that we're not enough. It's like, before we even get out of bed in the morning, before our feet have actually even hit the ground in the morning, we're already telling ourselves like how inadequate we are and how we're already behind, or how we're already failing, or how we're already lacking in some way. And then this just continues, right? It just continues throughout the day until we get back into bed at night and we take with us those same judgments of how we aren't enough and how we don't do enough and how we don't have enough. And it becomes like this unconscious default setting, this default track of judgments that like plays in our minds from waking to sleeping, that we're not even really consciously aware of, but it's just always there playing, right? And what happens is we end up feeling then like we have to apologize for ourselves, that in some way we have to compensate for these perceived judgments of not being enough, not doing enough, not having enough. And the problem with this is that it really prevents us from being who we want to be, right? And from getting the life that we want, because it sidetracks us, right? Because it's this unconscious, unquestioned default that holds us back. Like it keeps us convinced that we don't deserve what we want, or that we aren't capable of having what we want, right? And we feel like we have to apologize for that. And these apologies keep us small, right? They hold us back. They become the reason that we can't be who we want to be and get what we want. The reason we can't accomplish the goals that we desire for ourselves and why we aren't worthy of them. They become the reason our dreams aren't possible, right? Or the reason that others treat us the way they treat us, or the reason we treat ourselves the way we treat ourselves, right? Or the reason that we settle, or the reason that we even give up on ourselves, right? Because these tracks are just so automatic, right? And they take their toll on us, right? They convince us. And the thing is, we don't even really know it, right? We're so used to this default judgment track in our head telling us all the ways we're not enough and we don't do enough and we don't have enough, that we never actually question it. We never actually challenge it. And what it does is it makes us feel like we always have to be apologizing for ourselves and accepting less than we want and not allowing ourselves to have what we want. But if we bring these unconscious into the air, out into the light, if we become aware of them and like call them out, we can diffuse them, we can counter them and challenge them, we can disprove them, and we can stop that track from playing in our mind. And even more than that, we can come to know and realize all the ways that we actually are enough, right? Which that gives us the confidence to go after what we want, the confidence to be who we want and get what we want. Because it's really not that these default tracks are true. And you'll see that when you actually look at them. You'll actually see just like how ridiculous some of them really are. So it's not that we even really believe them. It's just that we've got in the habit of saying them automatically to ourselves without stopping to assess whether they're even really true, right? So how you can become aware of them, how you can counter them, how you can disapprove them. This is a really simple way to do it, which most ways of changing and creating shifts in life are really simple. So this is how you can do it. So you get yourself, like, choose a journal, and I've got 2 of my journals here. And I like I like the pretty journals, right? As you can tell. I personally go for the pretty ones, right? But I'm kind of extra that way. And in so many other ways, really, too. But I don't apologize for any of it, right? I celebrate it. It's one of the great things about me. I'm extra. I like pretty. Okay. So get yourself a journal that you love, right? That you like this one, these journals, they make me happy just looking at them, right? So even just the fact that they're pretty makes me want to actually get them out and write in them. All right. So everything that I ask you to do, I always want it to be something enjoyable for you, because that takes us to a whole other energy level. And that helps us create change, create shifts. Okay. So get yourself a journal that you like, and take that time to commit to like 2 weeks of this, of taking like 5 minutes every day for yourself, with yourself, to listen in on yourself, like that white space that I'm always talking about, right? That I'm always recommending. And take your journal and just write the date, and then under the date, write, I am enough because, I do enough because, I have enough because. And what's going to happen is you're going to shift your thinking on that. So it's countering all of those automatic things that we think without even questioning them, right? You're bringing them out into the light, and you're actually countering with all of the ways that you actually are enough, do enough, have enough, right? To give your brain that evidence, because so far your brain is just like believing the automatic track because that's the track it's listening to, right? That's the dial it's tuned into. We need to change that up. We want to give your brain new evidence of what to believe now. And the way that you do that is you have to actually consciously, at this point, actually go in and reaffirm something different than what your brain is used to thinking. So you need to give it the I am because, I do enough because, I have enough because, and you start reaffirming that so you can start to retrain your brain. So the thing with the white space, that time for yourself, with yourself, to listen in on yourself, that you hear me talk about, and the short journal exercises that we do, which is like a form of white space, is that in the moment they don't actually feel like they're doing anything or like you're getting any big reward for doing it. And because they're so easy to do, they're also easy not to do, right? But the effect we don't see actually is the compounding effect of spending time with ourselves, getting to know ourselves. Just like any relationship, right, that has substance to it, it takes an investment of time. And just like it takes time to truly get to know and understand and trust someone, your relationship with yourself is the same. Those 5 minutes or 50 minutes a day you spend in communication with yourself in your journal builds that self-awareness, that understanding, that trust. And who else in the world better to know and understand and trust than yourself, right? Like absolutely nobody, right? Like everything in your life depends on you having that relationship with yourself. So try that exercise for 2 weeks. Just commit to it for 2 weeks. And I am enough, I do enough, I have enough because, right? And then pop back in here, let me know what has shifted for you, because I promise you, if you commit to it, there'll be discoveries, there'll be insights, there'll be ahas. That's how it works. All right. So thank you for being here. Bouquets of diamonds to everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. And I will see you all next week. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.